Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 143. And today, um, we're going to talk about, and this is something I ran across on Twitter. Um, I talked about relationships, manipulations, and everything in between, right? And there's a few other things that I ran across at that thread of which I thought was interesting. With that being said, this coffee's good. Yeah, let's get started. I think it's really strange when, especially when people, they talk about their relationships or whatever it is, and it's like they always want to paint the other person out to be this, bad individual. And granted, there are some guys or women out there who are bad individuals, but for the most part, the most, for the most part, I should say, everybody's not a villain. You know, it's people want to paint the other individual, to make them into a villain. I've been in situations where, oh, hold on. Anyway, I've been in situations where I've been told, like, yeah, if you want to make me the bad dude, this and this and that, then go ahead. And like, nobody's trying to make you the bad dude. Nobody's trying to make you out to, out to be the villain. A lot of the times, people will tell you exactly how they felt, how they got treated in that situation, and the other person doesn't see it that way because either number one, they lack self accountability, which is a big thing, and it's more or less a women thing because most guys is like we will take self accountability for our actions. Or number two, they don't they don't they don't see it. They're so blind to their bullshit that they don't see it. And number three, they simply know and they don't give a fuck. And I'm not saying that all three of them are, you know, a true thing, but it's like a lot of the times people will sit there and play victim and do everything else and not accept accountability for what they've done. I ran across this other clip a couple days back, and this lady was talking about why why women choose quote unquote bad boys versus the good dudes. And the good dudes, I'm not saying that I'm a good dude, but I have good new tendencies. Like we're not gonna lie on you. We're not gonna cheat on you. We're not gonna disrespect you in any different, fade or fashion. And she said, from a woman's standpoint, is like why women choose bad boys is because when shit goes wrong, they can play victim. And it's like when you really think about it, it's like when you look back to all the girls, whether most of us went to high school. Some of us went to college. If not all of us went to high school. Um, there's always one or two dudes, that a girl hooks up with, who's a quote unquote bad boy, and she thinks that they can change him, and all she ends up is becoming is a single mom. Um, and the famous line that they always say is, "I don't know what I saw in him." It's like, no, you saw what you wanted to see. You saw the fact that that you saw a dude that was exciting, this and that, and it's like you fell for that. And then when shit couldn't go your way, you tried to manipulate the situation into changing him into being something that he's not. A lot of women will try to mold their men into being something that they're not, and it's like that's how you end up getting fucked over because a lot of the times men will show you who they are through their actions. Not necessarily through words, but through actions. And a lot of the times, when that happens, the girl gets pregnant, maybe once, twice, three times, or whatever it is. And they want to sit there and play victim, and I'm like, you can't, you know, you can't play victim because you knew exactly what the situation was, and you knew exactly how it was gonna play out. It's like girls who date the same type, like who go back to the same dude multiple times, and it's like they don't want to be like, well, I don't understand why it didn't work out. It's like everybody else can see it except you. That's the problem. Um, Everybody else can see why it didn't work out except for you. You know, and it's really unfortunate because you're dealing with individuals who don't understand their own self-worth and have no self-confidence, because if you keep going back to an individual who treats you like like dirt, or who lies on you, or who scams you, or who scams your people, there's been situations I know where girls have gone back and dated dudes who they know are ripping people off, who they she knows what he's doing, and like she still wants to play, she wants to be oblivious to it. I'm like, you can't, because at a certain point in time, there's no way that you're getting your cheeks clapped and not knowing what's going on with that man, and vice versa. And so it's always interesting to me when women want to sit there and play victim in a situation that they knew from jump most likely was not going to work out in their favor. And what's the thing they can be like? Oh well, I'm a single mother. That's by choice. You know, that's by choice. I tell people all the time, there's a reason why condoms are a lot less expensive than diapers. And a lot of people will not take heed to that. I mean, granted, it's like, hey, we've all had one night stands, we've all had situationships, we've all had everything else in between. But at the end of the day, if you want better, that means you got to do better. And a lot of the times it has to deal with you, your internal work and everything else that you have going on. It's like you can't sit there and blame everybody else for your fuck ups, because it doesn't work that way, After a while, people are gonna look at you and be like, yo, like, you're choosing to do all that. You're choosing to do this, X, Y, and Z. And a lot of the times, man, it's like if you don't understand what you're doing, or if you don't see what you're doing, if you don't care what you're doing, for that particular reason or whatever it is, you're gonna make the same mistake over and over and over again. You're gonna make the same mistake, because why would you want to be in a situation where things don't work out in your favor? And granted, I'm not saying all single mothers out there are, that they want to become single mothers, because a lot of them don't. But at the same time, it's like you're dealing with somebody who doesn't understand your worth, or doesn't understand, you know, um, who doesn't understand, you as an individual, doesn't want to understand you, and people will spend years in relationships, and then they want to say, "Oh, I don't know what I saw in them." It's like, come on, bro, stop lying. You tried to fix the nigga, and it didn't work. So, and then you try to guilt trip your way into a situation, and you try to make people think, oh yeah, X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada. Then you start throwing dirt in the name and everything too, and I'm like, wait, but you went back multiple times, or you still keep in contact with this guy multiple times, and and it's like, close the door, unless you have kids with this individual, there's no reason for y'all to talk, unless there's something else going on in the situation. There's no reason for y'all to talk. There's no reason for y'all to ever have a conversation ever again. Which brings me to this. I ran across this thing on Twitter, HBCU confessions. Apparently, and it was an anonymous post, and this person said she met this guy. Yeah, I guess they go to the same school, and the ex-girlfriend befriended her, and the ex-girlfriend started telling her all this shit about her ex, this and this and that, knowing that she likes him, or he likes her. Again, I've always thought this is weird. why can't people leave people alone? You know, I don't understand that because it's like you're creating a situation where number one, this individual doesn't want to be with you because you're an ex for a reason, and number two, leave people alone. You know, move on. You know, they're moving on. You know, people move on, just in this and that. And like, so what? He's, you know, interested in a girl that you know. It's college. You know what I mean? So, and they can put down whatever school they're at, whatever it is, right? So, you know, and a lot of us will come with our input and say this to say that. And, you know, some people said, "Yeah, you know, we'll leave it alone." This and this and that. Other people are like, "That's kind of weird how she's spilling tea to you." And basically, what she was trying to do is she was trying to guilt trip her. She's trying to guilt trip her into not dating her ex boyfriend. You know, which is weird because it's like, why would you want to do that? And like, she still had feelings for this guy, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I say it doesn't make any sense because you're over there blocking somebody else's blessing because it didn't work out with you. Yeah. Um, I hate when people do that. There's really no need for you to block anybody's blessing. There's no need for you to do X, Y, and Z because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you guys are no longer an item. You guys are no longer a couple. And once you understand that, and once you understand what it is, and you understand, you know, what the what what the situation is, wish him well. You know, I was working on an album last night, and I'm like one or two tracks done from this releasing this shit. Um, I just got to record, I think one or two more songs, and I'm good to go. And I think a lot of the times, man, is like when you look back in the situations, and like y'all know my situation, you know, with that one particular girl. Um, there was no ill will, there's no bad blood in that situation. It's like, but when you know, because you got to move on. You know, it's like you have to move on. You have to be better because you owe it to yourself to do that. Because nobody cares about your past, bro. The world keeps moving. You know, nobody's gonna sit there and be like, you know, oh yeah, yeah. Look, nobody cares. You know, like yeah, people may hear for a month or a couple of weeks after it happened or whatever it is, but nobody gives a shit. It's like it's like dealing with somebody who's always bringing up a certain situation and to like, dude, that was years ago. Let that shit go. You know, because it says more about their inability to let things go than anything else. And I think at the end of the day, if you don't let shit go, you're gonna be stuck in the past. You know, like, do I love the memories and the conversations with this woman? 100%. Do I know that she's not a good fit for me? 100%. You know, but it doesn't mean I still can't, you know, take the lessons that were in that situation for that period of time, because we're talking years, right? And it doesn't mean I can't apply them to future or current situations. And I have. I think it's important to realize that not every situation that ends bad is bad. Sometimes it's like, you know, whether if you believe in God, you know, whatever it is, karma, whatever it is, a lot of the times rejection is redirection. And redirection is something it's scary because it's something new, it's something different, but at the same time, you owe it to yourself to do that because if you don't get redirected into something, and most of the time when you get redirected, it's someone better, it's a better situation, you know, whether it's a relocation, whether it's a new job, whatever, a new relationship, whatever it is, because a lot of the times people will be so afraid to, you know, do something new or whatever it is, and it's like, nah, it's like you can't. Like, there's no point in you being stuck in a situation, you know, stunting your own growth, and then complaining about you not growing, you know. And it's like, I look back on some of the people that I knew, and that girl included. A lot of them are working the same jobs, still doing the same shit, and it's like, bro, that was years ago. It was like, what have you been doing since then? Like, how have you been growing, maturing, and, you know, doing everything else? And the answer is they haven't. They haven't matured. They haven't grown. but yet they wonder why everybody else is leaving them behind. And it's like, but with maturity and growth comes a different mentality, you know. I ran into this one girl. She's a police officer, so we both work in the court system. And so we was talking about work and everything too. And I've known her, I've known her for years, So I just happened to run into her, and so me and her were talking, and I could tell just based off her, redirection into becoming a cop. Your attitude, your mentality changes because of what you see every day. Uh, and what you see every day, molds you into a different individual, makes you better, makes you stronger, makes you more mentally aware. Because a lot of people, like I said earlier, man, they don't understand that that their mentality shapes their reality. If you think you can't do something, then 100% of the time it's not gonna get done. You know, and if you think you can't do something, you're 100% right, because it's not gonna get done. And sometimes, man, you gotta leave nouns where they at. People, places, and things. You can't take everything. You can't take everything or everyone with you because it doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, it's a shitty feeling because you know that a lot of people that you leave behind is like a lot of them are suited for a lot of better things, and if they can't see that, then there's no point of you being stuck in a situation with them. It's like being stuck in quicksand, right? Yeah, quicksand kills you, but it doesn't mean you gotta jump in there with them too. And that's what it is, man. You don't you like just be, my father once said he said, "Hey man, if everybody jumped off a bridge, would you do it?" And I remember asking him, "Well, how high is a bridge?" He's like, "What? Yeah, how high is a bridge?" And what are we jumping in? What are we jumping into? Are we jumping into water, concrete, whatever it is, right? So always ask questions, always search for understanding, and at the end of the day, man, just be yourself, you know. And if you're too much for people, whatever it is, if they tell you that you're too much for them, then show them the door because they don't belong in your space, you know. Anyway, guys, this is about 18 minutes of your life that you won't get back. Hope you guys keeping 4 P's, private player, positive pushing. I will see y'all next week Sunday. Love y'all. Ghost. Peace.